Hello, welcome back to the channel. Gonna be trying something a little bit new because I've been bumping to the new Kali Uchis Sincerely album, and I think that for someone that has been keeping up with Kali Uchis for such a long time, I feel like it's only right that I'm gonna try my hands again at making another tier list, basically ranking every Kali Uchis album to come out from S tier to F tier. Now, before we get into this tier list, there are a few exceptions to this that I'm going to exclude. As for me, these are projects that, again, just didn't really make the cut and is resembling Callie during her early days, and that is Poor Vita and Drunken Babble, and I think it was like that collab EP that come out, which was To Feel Alive. These projects are excluded from the tier list as I feel like these are projects that Callie just um, came out with better projects later on down the line. And I'm just going to mainly focus on the studio albums that have been officially released. So without further ado, let's begin. Starting with, of course, as you see on screen, 2018's Isolation. This is her first official debut album that came out the gate swinging after years of features and hype surrounding Callie's name. Callie's debut album came out the gate swinging, and swinging it freaking did. This album to me is absolutely freaking amazing. Since its release back in 2018, I absolutely been loving this album. This album has been a constant rotation for me ever since it came out, and essentially, like this is the project that really put Callie on the map. Now, yes, you could argue that it was Tyler the Creator that helped put her on the map in the first place with songs like "See You Again" and the host of other features that Callie was on before her Isolation album debut. But you can't deny that Isolation really showcased what Callie had to offer, her sound. This to me is like what Poor Vita and Drunken Babble was going for, but now it's like fully realized, fully um, given. And again, there are songs off of this project that have stood the test of time to this day. Again, you have songs like Tyrant, Nuestra Planeta, After the Storm featuring Tyler the Creator, Dead to Me, Just a Stranger, just to name a few. And again, from the production to the lyrics to Callie's upbringing and her voice still being entrancing on this album when you first get into it to the very end of it is still really, really good. I hold this album in high regards as Callie's best project ever, and the fact that she came out of the gate swinging with this project is crazy because again, not a lot of debut albums when you come out the gate comes out like really good. But again, there's so many iconic and memorable songs that are still referenced to this day. And definitely some of my favorite songs off this project, if I had to name a few, would be like In My Dreams featuring Gorillaz, Dead to Me, Tyrant again, Your Teeth in My Neck, Flight 22. There's a lot of songs off here back to back that are just amazing. So without further ado, I would have to put Isolation, given that it's the debut album and I love it to this day, instant S tier. I think it's deserving of the S tier. I can't really say much else about it. That's really good, but it still holds up to this day, and I'll leave it at that. Next, we are on to 2020's Sin Miendo album. So, this came out obviously 2 years after Callie's debut album, and this one was probably Callie's first time trying to go into like a Spanish, pure Spanish album. And for many, and myself included, at the time when this came out, I was really skeptical and a little worried because I was like, okay, we know Kelly can do a lot of Spanish influence type of songs, but can she really hold her own on a full length album? And to me, I think she still holds it up pretty well. On Cimiento, you have some pretty big songs over here that are arguably one of Cali's biggest hits ever, from Aqua Yo Mondo, La Luz, and the most infamous and most popular song to date, Telepatia. And these songs really catapult Kali Uchis from this big, well-known star that she started off with Isolation into mainstream popularity, commercial appeal. And Simiento definitely has its flaws, which I'll definitely get into. So I think is the weaker songs, but I think that given that this is her first attempt at making a pure Spanish album, I think she did really good. Again, there are some highlights over here from Telepatia, Quei Sentimiento, Di Nadia, No Is 2, even Aqua Yamano Rico Nasty, and the closing track off this album are strong hits. Definitely the weaker songs, like the one with Party Next Door with Free Major, is still a weaker song to listen to this day. Is it bad? Not necessarily, but it could have been a lot better. So while I do commend this album for being like Cali's first attempt at trying to go for a pure Spanish album, I can tell that this is more focused for a commercial appeal than like a well-rounded, well-focused album that was super breakout from her isolation album. So with that, I think I would put Simiendo comfortably in the C tier. Again, it's fine. It's okay, give or take. Again, there's some songs over here that are still memorable, still iconic to this day, but I think that sorry, past this point, I think that she's come out with better, more crisp projects that will actually are much stronger to withhold the test of time. Which leads us to our next project, of course, Red Moon Venus. Now, Rainbow and Venus is an interesting one as this came out exactly 3 years after Simiendo, and around this time period, Callie has essentially gone through so much changes in her personal life. She just got into a relationship with Don Tolliver, as announced, and she has been slowly but surely coming out with songs and teasing fans for this up and coming project. And she said that she's going to be dropping an album back to back, which was Red Moon Venus, and the next project that we're going to talk about are Diaz. And this project for Red Moon Venus feels like a huge step up from Simiendo, as yes, we do get Spanish tracks, yes, we do get English tracks over here, and it is reminiscent of Isolation to an extent. Um, and there are songs over here that are still really memorable, really iconic from I Wish You Roses, Moonlight, Worth the Wait, Love Between, All Mine, um, even Deserve Me, and the Not Too Late interlude is probably one of the more underrated tracks to come out on this project. And for me, I feel like this project for Kali Uchis is definitely like a nice return to form for Kali, and I'm just happy that it came out the way it did because, again, prior to the Simiendo up into Red Moon Venus, I was a little worried that Kali would not be able to recapture the sound that made her special and super iconic off of her Isolation album. And I'm happy to report that she absolutely crushed it with this project. Now, do I think that it holds a candle to Isolation? I don't think so. There are moments in this album where there's a clear direction, there's some really good flow state going on, and then it kind of loses itself in the sauce a little bit. Um, Again, take for example the song "Fantasy" featuring Don Tolliver. I think that again, while these this is a pretty good song between the two, I do think that it was a rough one to like kind of say the least for the song. Even the song "Happy Now," while it was a "Happy Now" is a really great closer of an album, I do think that it is at times a little bit theatrical with the ending, but that's not to mean that it's like terrible. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I think that Red Moon Venus is a huge step up from Simiendo, and I think I'll leave it at that. For me, I'll put this comfortably in the B tier. This is going in the B row. All right. Next, we have her immediate follow up after Red Moon Venus within a year later, and that's Orquídeas. Now, Orquídeas is another Spanish album, like pure Spanish album from Kali Uchis. And this one is another interesting album to say the least because now at this point, Kali is expecting to give birth pretty soon. She is going into like the motherhood state of how she is embracing in this project. And again, while as someone who's not good in Spanish and I don't know what's being told. The vibes, the aspects, even look up the lyrics for some of these songs because I had to look up the lyrics. They're really good, super heartfelt. To me, I feel like this is Callie truly perfecting the Spanish album that she was trying to capitalize off of her 2020 album Simiendo. And to me, I feel like this was a good balance of intimacy, but also trying to give the fans what they want with the commercial appeal. And the fact that she dropped a part two of Orquídeas that same year as like a deluxe edition of the album is really really good. So again, I don't know what more I can say about this album because again, if I knew how to speak and listen and talk about Spanish, I could tell you a little bit in detail about how the project goes. But all I can say is that the album is a really good, really smooth project that really continues where Red Moon and Venus left off. To me, I feel like between this project and Red Moon and Venus, I think they're exactly about the same when it comes to how each project portrays itself in a sort of way. Because at the end of the day, as Kelly stated, this is the English album, this is the Spanish album of said project, and all of them hit it with flying colors really well. Again, you do have soundtracks up here once again from Riquita, Labios Mordidos, No Hele Part 2, even the closing track with Dame Braso and Moevita, and many, many other cool tracks from the first five tracks that is like a fucking amazing ride to go into. This project is, in a way, it's like a part two of Red Moon Venus in a way. And I think that's all I can say about it. So I think for Orquídeas, I would comfortably give this one a solid B tier. This one is still in heavy rotation to this day, but it's not really strong. All right, and finally we can go into Sincerely, which is Callie's most recent project to come out um, in May 9th, not too long ago. And this project has been has been cooking for some time now. It's apparently this project has been recorded during the same time period that Red Moon Venus and Orquídeas was being recorded. And yeah, sincerely, in my personal view, after listening to this project multiple times now since its release, I think that this is Cali's most vulnerable, most open project ever. And I don't say that lightly. Like I feel like this project takes on a whole new meaning of like what it's like to of motherhood, of honesty, beauty, etc. And I think that this project is gonna go down as Callie's best project since Isolation. Because again, there are many tracks off here that really hit where it hurts the most for me personally. And I even went into this album thinking like, are the singles going to be good as I was hoping for? And I can comfortably say that, like, even though I didn't like Sunshine Rain at the time, I can say that I Love You So Much It Hurts and All I Can Say were like really good singles to carry the album all the way through. And again, all I can say is that you need to listen to this album. Like, if you really want to listen to like a really cool, really emotional album, this album is really for you. There are a ton of highlights off of this project that at times I actually almost teared up crying for some reason, which is rare for me considering that I haven't felt this way since Isolation. And I'm gonna probably leave it at that. Again, this is an album that is a must listen that for me is pretty much can go toe to toe with Isolation in terms of Cali's discography. And again, I can't say anything else about it. The transitions, the vulnerability, the lyrics, the production is just super, super out there and just amazing. And for those reasons alone, um, I have to comfortably give this bad boy a easy S tier. I think that that will be how my tier list is. But yeah, this is my tier list right here for every major studio project. Again, I did not include Port Vita and Drunken Babel in this discography. I would have, but it would only make sense that that was Callie during her come up stage, you could say. But yeah, this is my tier list of every Kali Uchis um, major studio project, and I just want to try something new because I've been listening to the Kali Uchis Sincerely album, and it got me thinking. You know what? I'm gonna give this thing a shot and see if anyone really cares about my thoughts about every Kali Uchis project. And yeah, that's all I want to talk about. I'll see you on the next one later.